जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी नंदन व्रज जन रंजनाय यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजनाय यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Radha Shyamasundar Radha Shyamasundar Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhams Parivrajkacharya Stodarshi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya, BPT Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Krishnaya vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Humble and respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, so that we can discuss something on this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are continuing with the last class because part of the purport was not covered. And we'll also be covering only partly. So let's recite together. Sattvam rajastamyati trivitte kamado. Sudram mahanahmiti pravadanti jivam. Jnana kriyartha phala rupatayoro shakti. Brahmeva bhati satasaccha tayo param yad. Sattvam rajastamaiti trivritte kamado. Sutram mahanahmiti pravadanti jivam. Jnana kriyartha phalarupatayoro shakti. Brahmeva bhati sad asaccha tayo param yad. Sattvam rajastamaiti trivrit ekamado. Sutram mahanahmiti pravadanti jivam. Jnana kriyartha phalarupatayoru shakti. Brahmeva bhati sadasacchatayoh param yat. Mataji's. Kriyartha phalarupatayoru shanti. So the word-to-word meaning: Sattvam, goodness; Rajaha, passion; Tamaha, and ignorance; Iti, thus known; Trivrit, threefold; Ekam, one; Ado, in the beginning before creation; Sutram, the power to act; Mahan, the power of consciousness; Aham, and the false ego; Iti, thus; Pravadanti, is called; Jivam, false ego which covers the living entity; Jnana, the demigods are the embodiment of knowledge; Kriya, the senses; Artha, sense objects; Phala, and fruitive results such as happiness and distress; Rupataya, assuming the forms; Urushakti, possessing great varieties of energy; Brahmeva, the Supreme alone; Bhati, is manifest; Sat Asatya, as both gross objects and their subtle causes; Tayo, both; Param, beyond; Yat, which is. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Originally one, the absolute Brahman, comes to be known as threefold, manifesting itself as the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Brahman further expands its potency, and thus the power to act and the power of consciousness becomes manifest, along with the false ego, which covers the identity of the conditioned living being. Thus, by the expansion of the multi-potencies of the Absolute, the demigods, as well as the embodiment of knowledge, become manifest along with the material senses, their objects, and the results of material activity, namely happiness and distress. In this way, the manifestation of the material world takes place as the subtle cause and as the material effect visible in the appearance of gross material objects. Brahman is the source of all subtle and gross manifestations, is simultaneously transcendental to them, being absolute. Purport, the first paragraph was covered in the last class. So, and the whole class was spoken. It was a wonderful parrot-like recitation of the commentary and explanation. So, we will go now to the second paragraph and the third paragraph. In this verse, the expansion of the material world from Brahman, the Absolute, is described. Since Brahman is one of the subordinate features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdate, one who understands this material world to be Brahman is freed from the tendency to exploit the material energy through sense gratification and mental speculation aimed at one's satisfaction. Paragraph 3, up till here we are going to cover, so I'll just read paragraph 3 also. The question may be raised, since Brahman is stated to be Ekam or one, how does it become manifest in innumerable varieties of the material world? Therefore, this verse uses the word Urushakti. The Absolute contains multipotencies as stated in the Vedas, Svetashwara Upanishads, Parasya Shaktir Vivide Shruyate. The Absolute Truth is not Shakti or energy, but Shaktiman, the possessor of innumerable potencies. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, one should submissively hear these authorized descriptions of the Absolute Truth. As stated in the previous verse, Yata Analam Archisa Swa. The insignificant sparks of the fire have no power to illuminate the blazing fire, which is itself the source of illumination. Similarly, the tiny living entity who is like a spark of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot illuminate the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot illuminate the Personality of Godhead by his insignificant intellectual power. One may argue that the sun expands its potency in the form of its rays, and it is through the illumination of those rays that we are able to see the sun. In the same way, we should be able to perceive the Supreme Absolute Truth by the expansion of its potency. In answer to this, it may be stated that if the sun creates a cloud covering the sky, then despite the presence of the sun rays, the sun cannot be seen. Therefore, ultimately the power to see the sun depends not only on the sun rays, but on the presence of a clear sky, which is also an arrangement by the sun. Similarly, as stated in this verse, one cannot understand the existence of the Absolute Truth by the expansion of its potencies. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। सत्वं रजस्तम इति त्रिवृद् एकमादो सूत्रं महान् अहम् इति प्रवदन्ति जीवम् ज्ञान क्रियार्थ फल रूपतयो उरुशक्ति ब्रह्मेव भाति सद असच्च तयो परम यत्। So this is one of the most philosophical discussions which is happening in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have been seeing that every purport is 6 pages, 7 pages, and sometimes tattva is too heavy to digest even in the early morning. So I will be just in this verse covering paragraph 2, where Prabhupada defines, or Prabhupada disciples define the definition of absolute truth, Brahmeva. How this whole creation, which I'll come to the whole flow of what is happening in this section between the conversation between Maharaj Nimi and the Navayogendras. And Brahma is actually referring to Brahman. Brahma is referring to what? Brahman. And we'll introduce some terminology so that we get familiar with what is really being discussed here. And then I'll be focusing on Sat, Asat, Cha, Tayo. So Sat, Asat also are these two terminologies which we need to have a clear understanding. How this Brahma, which is Brahman, is what? Sat, Asat. And Sat Asat can have different meanings in different contexts. Within this verse, what is the meaning? We'll try to understand, and it is beyond that. So I'll be speaking in 3 parts, this discussion. First is the importance of study of the 11th canto, especially this section what we are going through, why it is so important. The second aspect will be the flow in the Nimi Navayogendra Samvad. What is the flow? And then how Sage Piplayan is answering to Maharaj Nimi's 5th question, which is in this section from 35 to 40, and we are on the 37th verse. So we all know that the Bhagavatam has 10 topics. Atra Sarga, Visargascha, Sthanam Poshanam, Udaya, Manvantara, Ishanukato, Kata, Nirodha, Mukti, Ashray. So Sarga is, of course, all these topics are there spread in the entire 12 cantos, but Sarga is mainly dealt in the 3rd canto. That's why 3rd is assigned as Sarga. But it's not that it's only dealing with Sarga, but major topic is Sarga. Visarga is the 4th canto. The 5th canto is Sthanam, the whole cosmology is discussed. And how the Lord protects his devotees, Poshanam, beginning from Ajamal's pastime, is there in the 6th canto. And Uti is karma vasanas. Two extreme examples, Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu is there. And how it can be harmonized by following Varnashram is the Narada Yudhishthira Samvad. And then there is the Manvantars, the change of the rulership of the 14 Manus. And then 9th canto comes to Ishanukata. So in the sequence, if you see, Atra Sargasya, Nirod is 10th, right? So some of the acharyas explain Nirod specifically refers to also how the gopis got absorbed when Krishna left the Ras Leela. They actually started imitating Krishna's pastimes because they were completely in absorption. That is also Nirod in one sense. And then 11th remains the same, that is Mukti. Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthita. And then there is Ashray. Ultimately the souls after the universal devastation have to take shelter of the Lord. While they are here in this material world, they are under the shelter of the Lord only. So like that it can be interchanged, but 10th topic is Ashray. Dasamasya Vishuddhartam Navanam Iha Lakshanam. So the 9 topics are meant to ultimately go to the Ashray, which is the Samambonam, Lord Sri Krishna. So the 10th canto pastimes which are mentioned are full of rasa, spiritual emotions. And after describing this pinnacle of pastimes in the 10th canto, which also requires adhikar, Srila Prabhupada says that one should become a self-realized soul by the time he comes to the 9th canto. And then one can enter into the 10th canto pastimes. So it requires adhikar. And after describing this, wonderful nectarian pastimes of the Vraj Bhakti and Dwarka Leela, in fact the last chapter of 10th canto, if you see, is more intimate pastimes which Krishna does with his Mahishis. So all these divine emotions which are like waves. Now just like in an engine, especially in a steam engine, when the energy, the steam is created, you have to contain and hold that in a proper container. And then you can use that energy in a proper direction. So similarly, to contain that Shuddha Bhakti, which Krishna has spoken in the 10th canto, in order to hold that, he is giving now the Gyan in the 11th canto. That is why without studying the 11th canto, one cannot handle that rasa which Krishna has presented in the 10th canto. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, after Krishna speaks in the middle 6 chapters Ananya Bhakti, then in the 13th to the 18th chapters, he is speaking Gyan, by which one can attain liberation. But he glorifies that Gyan in the 14th chapter as Gyananam Gyana Uttamam. Now I am going to give the topmost knowledge, which is the Uttamam Gyana. How can that be Uttamam? Because the topmost is Bhakti Yoga. Because by this Gyan, it can strengthen your Bhakti. So similarly, the Gyan section which is spoken here in the 11th canto actually sustains our Ananya Bhakti. So that is why it is very important that we understand this section of the 11th canto, and especially this Nimi and Navayoga and Samadhan. Then later on, Krishna is going to start discussing with Uddhava, and that's also highly philosophical if you see. And Krishna, what he could not speak about that confidential Ananya Vraj Bhakti, which he just spoke in one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 18.65. He wanted to speak more, but the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there is so many others. He could not speak. But now he speaks to Uddhava, because Uddhava is the right candidate, because he knows what is Vraj Bhakti. He has experienced it. So the more confidential knowledge of Ananya Bhakti is spoken in the 11th canto. And in one sense, 11th canto is the summary of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, so the 11th canto is also a summary. So that is why we need to study the 11th canto. Now coming to the flow, what is happening in this discussion. So I'll not go into the background because other speakers have spoken. The question of Maharaj Nimi is, what is the supreme good and how one engages in devotional service. So that is what he asks in the second chapter 30-31. And Kavi starts answering that the supreme good, Ekantika Shaya, is what? Worship of the Lord's lotus feet, and is the highest goal, since all dharmas have an element of fear, but bhakti gives fearlessness. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhinivesh. And he describes the characteristics and powers of bhakti. Now, having heard about the devotees, Nimi inquires, explain me about the devotees, their nature and different types. So when you hear about bhakti, the most important thing is to find a sadhu who possesses this kind of bhakti. And that is why there is the Uttama Bhagavat, the Madhyam Bhagavat, and the Kanishta Bhagavat. So how he speaks gives answer the nature and type of devotees, conduct of the devotee, outward symptoms, and speech of a devotee. And then when Lord's Maya is mentioned, Nimi inquires, he wishes to learn about the Lord's Maya, illusionary energy. That is how the third chapter begins. And Antariksh starts answering, Maya is made of gunas. And gunas are defined in terms of their effect. Prakriti Jan Guna. Creation, maintenance and destruction. Now after hearing about Maya, for the benefit of karmis, Nimi inquires how even the foolish materialist can easily cross our Lord's Maya. And this we have discussed in many verses, Bhagavad Dharma, and Dustaram it is, and easily one can cross. So Prabhu is answering that. We saw in the series of verses, one can overcome Maya by performance of bhakti. Perform sadhana bhakti under the shelter of Guru. Sadhana leads to prema. Then one overcomes Maya easily as a secondary result. Now hearing about Narayan, who is Param, who is transcendental, now Nimi inquires in verse 34, explain me the transcendental situation of the Supreme Lord Narayan, who is Brahman and also Paramatma. And Pipalayan Rishi from 35 to 40 is explaining the transcendental situation of Narayan, Brahma and Paramatma. So the absolute truth is defined as what? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdati. And Srila Jiva Goswami, just on this one definition, as our Venudhar Prabhu was explaining, has written the entire Shad Sandarbhas, explaining this one definition, an entire work on it. So, Brahman is dealt in the Tattva Sandarbha, and the Paramatma is dealt in the Bhagavad Sandarbha and Paramatma Sandarbha, and Bhagavan in the Krishna Sandarbha. So 4 Sandarbhas are devoted to defining this absolute truth. The 5th Sandarbha is about Abhidheya, that is Bhakti. And the 6th Sandarbha is Priti Sandarbha, which is Prayojan, Prema. So this is the definition of absolute truth. So we are devotees relishing rasa. Sometimes it is very difficult to understand the absolute truth. So I am just presenting in brief what this definition of absolute truth is. So let us relish first rasa and then go to tattva. I am just narrating an incident here. Srila Prabhupada was giving a Bhagavatam class, and the Jad Yogis, who are the Jad Yogis? The Jad Yogis happened to enter Krishna Balaram temple, and they were completely naked. And Prabhupada, in the midst of the class, he just ordered his servant to go and get gulab jamun. And he had the gulab jamun and teased these Jad yogis, that, people perform austerity, but they cannot realize the absolute truth. But we devotees, just by relishing gulab jamun, can realize the absolute truth. Just to tease them, he actually had it. So, Srila Jiva Goswami defines or compares the absolute truth to a relishable sweet like the gulab jamun. So, the gulab jamun has many features, but we'll take 4 features. First is, it has what? It has fragrance, gandha, actual gulab jamuns, which are actually deep fried in ghee. When it is brown in texture, when it is fried in ghee, the brown texture when it is fried, that brown smell also comes, if you have actually smelled. And the ghee smell also comes. So gulab jamun has this fragrance. And then gulab jamun has another feature, that they are round, they are brownish, and they are very soft to touch, crispy. And especially when they are dipped in sugar syrup. And the most important thing is the gulab jamun has what? Taste. So Srila Jiva Goswami compares the absolute truth to what? Gulab jamun. Now Brahman is Sat, Chit and Anand. Paramatma is Sat, Chit, Anand. And Bhagavan is what? Sat, Chit, Anand. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdati. And it is what kind of Gyan? Advaya Gyan. It is that one absolute truth which is manifest as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Brahman is also Satchidanand, Paramatma is also Satchidanand, and Bhagavan is also Satchidanand. This is little difficult for us to understand. But let's understand with the example of gulab jamun, it becomes easy. So, the seeker of the absolute truth, when he is far away from the absolute truth, he can only access the Sat feature of the absolute truth. Just like gulab jamuns are being fried on the first floor of the kitchen, and you are down here, and the door to the kitchen room is locked, you are able to understand that it is gulab jamun, and you want to go, but the door is locked. And you are able to access what? Only the fragrance of the gulab jamun. So the jnani, the seeker of the absolute truth, because he is far away from the absolute truth, he is able to only access the Sat feature of the absolute truth. Although Brahman is what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. He is not able to go up and actually see the gulab jamuns. The yogi is near to the absolute truth, and he can go up, climb the stairs and go in the kitchen and actually see the gulab jamun. And he is able to see that they are brown and the texture is very shining. He is able to touch the gulab jamun. But because it is not offered, he cannot have it. So the yogi who meditates on the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth, he realizes that I am a conscious being and the Lord is also a conscious being. I am seeing the Lord is seeing me. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam mahi pashyati. Both are just seeing each other. That is Shantaras. But there is no reciprocation. Because rasa begins with reciprocation. But the bhakta, the devotee, he can actually relish the gulab jamun, the taste of the gulab jamun. So that is like relishing anand, the happiness, Satchid Anand. So because the devotee is near to the absolute truth, he can fully realize the absolute truth, who is Satchid and Anand. So that is what is the absolute truth. So the Acharya has explained that any bhoga which is offered to the Lord should have these 4 features. One is, it should be having a lot of good fragrance. Natural fragrance should come from the bhoga. And it should be very nice to look at. Like the samosa should be very brownish, they should have texture, there should be smell, and then there should be also taste. So that is the complete realization of the absolute truth. So here, Brahma Eva. So Brahma Eva refers to the absolute truth in his Brahman feature who creates this whole universe. The whole universe manifests from this Brahman. So we'll go into that now because we'll try to understand this. Now, as I was mentioning that there are 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, and there are 3 divisions: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. But actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, what is spoken is only Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is only extolling the glories of Bhakti Yoga. And he is showing how Karma Yoga ultimately leads to Bhakti Yoga. How Jnana Yoga leads to Bhakti Yoga. And within the middle 6 chapters, he speaks about different types of Mishra Bhakti and ultimately glorifies what? Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti. And in this difficult section of the Jnana section of the Bhagavad Gita, he shows how this Jnana strengthens one's bhakti. And ultimately, even to understand this difficult section of Jnana, Krishna says that only my devotee can understand it. So that is why this 11th canto is very important even for devotees to understand. Just like the 2nd canto and the 3rd canto, the 5th canto speaks about creation. The Lord's pastimes with his Maya Shakti. It is very important that we understand. Only then we can understand the Lord's pastimes with his Antaranga Shakti, which is the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, in the 13th, 14th and 15th chapter, Krishna speaks about how one can transcend the modes, especially in the 14th chapter, after describing the modes. And Krishna says, Mamcha avvabhicharyo avvabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samite tetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So by practicing avvabhicharini bhakti, he is able to transcend the 3 modes. And he attains what? Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He attains Brahman. And Krishna in the next verse says, 14.27, Brahmano hi pratishta aham. I am the basis of this Brahman. Now in order to prove this, Krishna speaks the 15th chapter. And let's try to understand this. So the 13 to 18 chapters, the Bij Vakya, because this chapter is liberation from the illusionary energy. The Bij Vakya is 13.22. Purusha prakriti stohi bhaungte prakrite jan guna karana guna sangasya sad asad yoni janmasu. So the term bhaungte has come. Bhaungte is the desire to enjoy. Because he has this desire to enjoy, bhaungte karana guna sangasya. He is situated in Prakriti. Prakriti is made of 3 modes, and that is why he goes through these different yonis. And this verse, the Acharyas explain that this is the Bij Vakya, 13.22. The desire to enjoy. Just like, for a tree, we first need the seed. And the watering is 3 modes. The roots come. And the entire tree is the manifestation of that seed. So similarly, the Acharyas mention that this desire to enjoy of the Purusha, so-called Purusha, is the seed of his suffering in this material world. And just like, bhaungte prakrite jan gunan. The bhakti is made of 3 modes. So 3 modes are discussed in the 14th chapter. And the entire tree is discussed in the 15th chapter. So that's how the flow is. And within the tree, the upper portion of the tree, which is the divine qualities, the mode of goodness, and the lower portion of the tree, which is the demonic qualities. How these divine qualities lead to liberation and the demonic qualities lead to degradation. So that's the 16th chapter, the divine and the demonic. And in the 17th chapter is in between the tree, upper portion and the lower portion. And the 18th chapter is the entire summary, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna, within discussion of the Bhakti Yoga, he speaks about Sadharana Bhakti Yoga. But then in the last few verses, he speaks about Ananya Bhakti, the most confidential knowledge. So, Brahma Eva, we are discussing Brahma Eva, that term used in this verse. So, Krishna is explaining this term Brahman has to be clearly understood. Actually, it is Brahma. Brahma is masculine. Brahman is neuter gender. And what is feminine? Feminine is Brahmi. So, Brahman is neuter, Brahma is masculine, and Brahmi is feminine. So, Krishna uses this term Brahmi in the 2nd chapter, last verse of the Gita. Esha Brahmi Siti Partha. Just situated like this in the internal potency of the Lord, he will attain Brahma Nirvana Rishyati. So, Brahma Nirvana doesn't refer to liberation, it refers to being situated in your Swarupa in the spiritual world. That's why Prabhupada clarifies that. So, Brahman can refer to Brahman, it can refer to Paramatma, it can refer to Bhagavan. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdati. And Brahman also can refer to the Jiva. And Brahman can also refer to this entire Prakriti. Sarvamidam khalo Brahma. Now this Jiva who is Brahman, he is caught in another Brahman, and by understanding that everything is coming from Brahman, he can attain liberation. That is what is being spoken in these series of verses. So I will just touch upon how, Brahma Eva, which is spoken in this verse, we can understand from this 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is speaking in this verse, Urdha Mula Adashaka Ashwatam Prahuravyam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. Urdhva Mula. He is speaking that everything is completely shooting from Satyalok. The whole universe is coming from where? Satyalok, Brahma, and it is coming down. And it is a Ashwata. It's like a Ashwatri, but it is what kind of an Ashwatri? It is inverted Ashwatri. And other Shaka. And it is like a Ashwata. And it is a eternal. Eternal, it is Avyayam. And then one who knows the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, he knows only the leaves. But my devotee knows what? The entire tree. And he knows how to get out of this entire tree of material existence. Yastam Veda Savedavit. And then Krishna further goes on, how these shakas are going up and down, And then you cannot find out this root of it. But everyone is bound. Karmani bandini manushaleke. And Arjuna is bewildered hearing this description. That, you said the shakas are coming down, but now you are saying the shakas are coming up. It's all because of the modes. If one cultivates the mode of goodness, then the branches go up. And if one cultivates the mode of ignorance, then it's going down. But here Krishna in the 4th verse says, Tata padam tad pari margitavyam. Yasmin gata na nivartante boye. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadde. One should attain that param padam. That param padam actually refers to transcendence, which is Brahman. And what are the qualities of one who is trying to attain that? He says, Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha. Adhyatma nitya vrinutta kama dvander vimukta sukha sukha sange gachanti amuda padam avyayam tat. These are the qualities if you want to attain that transcendence he speaks about. And I'm coming to this verse because Krishna is saying that ultimately na tad bhasite suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So tad dhama paramam refers also that this effulgence, which is the Kanti of the Lord, and this Kanti of the Lord is actually, the sun, the moon, the fire do not illuminate the supreme light of mind. Na tad mama paramam dhama bhasate. Having this light, one does not return. So the light of the sun and the moon, Srila Prabhupada explains, ultimately it is light coming from the Brahma Jyoti. It is coming from the Brahma Jyoti. Srila Prabhupada in his purports explains. Similarly, the experience of the sunlight is actually coming from whom? Or it is coming from where? It is not coming from the sun. It is coming from the transcendental effulgence from the body of Surya Narayan, who is a Saktavesh avatar of the Lord. It is coming from his Teja. And that's why when Priyavrat became another sun, when this sun, it was summer, Priyavrat's sun, which was just following this other sun, he was giving coolness because it was emanating from Priyavrat's body, the second sun. And when it was cool during the winters, then Priyavrat's sun was, emanating heat so that the temperature was always the same throughout the year. So the sun's energy or the effulgence is coming from the body of the sun god. Similarly, everything is coming from the what? Brahman. That's the point some of the acharyas explain here. And also it refers to my Dham means spiritual world, as Prabhupada translates. And then Krishna goes on to say how these living entities are bound in this material world. And the whole transmigration he speaks. I'll not go into it. But here is the most important thing, that how we can see Krishna in this material world. And Krishna speaks about how he maintains everything in this 15th chapter as his Vibhuti. He spoke about how he is the essence of everything in the 7th chapter as Vibhuti, and how he is the best of everything in the 10th chapter. But how he is the maintainer? Only when somebody maintains us, we develop affection. And the affection for Krishna we can get when we understand how he is the maintainer. So Krishna speaks about from the cosmological level, terrestrial level, physiological level, and spiritual level, how he maintains us. From the cosmological level, yad aditya gata tej. Know that the light of the sun, moon and fire, yad chandransi yachagno, which illuminates this universe, is my light. Tad mamakam teja. So this is again referring to what? Brahma Jyoti. And then he is holding the earth and giving nourishment to us in the form of all the vegetables and fruits. And then at a physiological level, he is digesting the food as Vaishnava Agni. And at the spiritual level, he is there in the heart. Matta spritir jnana apohanamcha. After Arjuna hears this verse, and Krishna says, Vedesha sarvar aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit ved videha chaham. Can you tell me the essence of Vedanta? So Krishna speaks the essence of Vedanta in only 3 verses, which is called as the 3 Shloki Gita. And he speaks about this Dvaimam Purushaloke Sharakshara evacha Shara Sarvani Bhutani Kutastha Akshara Uchati. So there are the Shara, which is the conditioned souls, and there are Akshara, which are the liberated souls. And they are situated in Brahman, or they can be situated in Brahma Jyoti, the liberated souls, or They can be situated in the body of Mahavishnu, the yogis who get liberated. Or they can be situated in the spiritual world as the eternal associates. Or with Krishna. And then he speaks about Paramatma. There is a Uttama Purusha Anya. Apart from this Shara and Akshara, there is an Anya Purusha who is Uttama Purusha. But he is Paramatma. And he enters into this universe and maintains this universe. So this refers to the three Purusha avatars, that is Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And then in this verse he says, Yasmat Shara Atitoham. I am superior to the Jivas. Aksharadapi Chauttama. I am superior even to Brahman and even Paramatma and even to all Purusha avatars, including Matsya, Kurma, Vara, Rama. Because he is what? Purusheshu Uttama. He is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. I am superior even to Narayan. And that is why I am celebrated Ata Pratita Asmi in the Vedas and the Smritis as a supreme person, Purushottam. So it is from the Brahman that these three modes come into, and that Brahmeva, as in this verse it is mentioned. And Sad Asad, as I was mentioning, Sad Asad can refer to matter and spirit. Sad Asad can refer to cause and effect. But specifically in this verse, Sad Asad refers to Sat, refers to subtle, and Asat refers to the gross objects of the manifestation. So in essence, Piplayan Rishi here is in summary describing the whole creation which is described in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the whole creation, by the glance of Mahavishnu, the first element is created which is called as Mahat Tattva. And here in this verse it is referred to Mahan. Sutram Mahan. So who can understand this? Yo mameva sammudo janati Purushottam. One who understands this absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan feature, sa sarvavid bhajate mam sarva bhavena bharata. Only then he can, with full heart, he can engage in bhajan. So in this verse, as I was mentioning, in summary, the entire creation pastime has been narrated. So in this verse it is mentioned, Sutram Mahan Aham Iti Pravadanti Jivam. So the sutra refers to the Mahat Tattva and Uru Shakti. There are multifarious energies, and that is referring to the Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti and the Drava Shakti, by which the Adhyatmika, Adi Devika and the Adi Bhautik manifestations of the creation manifest. Through the Adi Bhautik are the Tanmatras and the elements. To the Adhyatma is the Pran, senses and the intelligence. And to Adi Deva is the mind and the sense 10 sense Devdas. So in summary, the whole creation is described by Piplayan Rishi in this verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any questions, clarifications or any comments?
That is back in Vrindavan. And Jnana Vairagya, important. You're explaining Jnana in a very nice way, so we can all be properly renounced, so we can actually surrender to Krishna. So now that you understand the Jnana, now you can take nice prashad. That'll give further realization. Krishna, he wants to bless with this understanding of bhakti and love. Jnana is very important. Thank you.
Stop. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.